Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're gonna look at a video from Brett Cooper out of the Daily Wire called "Never Call Me a Cis Woman." Without clicking on the video yet, I am guessing that finally somebody is finding it concerning that to be a straight, normal woman, or what you would call is just a regular old biological woman, is cis, and it's a strange little term that the LGBTQ community likes to try to apply to anybody who is a straight and normal identifying woman.
Wonderful.
All right, let's get into this.
Welcome back to the comment section. I'm Brett Cooper. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about women on TikTok pushing back against trans women, telling them that they can't use gendered terms like breastfeeding or motherhood, making fun of tampons like Grant being like, "Where does this go?
Where does that go? Oh my God."
Saying that periods are a state of mind, which is literally something that I saw on TikTok. It makes no freaking sense. Anyway, that was an incredibly positive shift for me because I've said it before. I don't care if those people are conservative or Republican or even libertarian. I don't care if they vote like me, but hopefully they're going out into their communities, their industries, into the culture and starting those conversations and not being afraid to share their beliefs publicly. Because for so long we have been shunned and silenced for saying anything against this gender ideology, and finally people are being brave enough to say this makes no sense. Now I have a similar story today which hopefully indicates another positive cultural shift. But before we get into it, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not already, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss a comment section or off the clock episode. Alrighty, so today we're talking about the word cis or cisgender. According to the dictionary, it means denoting or relating to a person whose gender identity correlates with the sex registered for them at birth, aka not transgender. For further emphasis, I will let
What
somebody
dictionary
else take
are
it
they
away.
using?
All of them now, they've all changed. All of them, all these dictionaries now, if you go look at like Webster and dictionary.com, all of them, you go look at all of them and they all now spew this nonsense.
Yeah, I've got an 1828 Webster, which is pretty darn cool because if you look at it and you look at the definitions, the words in there, is even before all of this transgender nonsense, even the words had still changed meaning over the years. It seems like the homosexual community, I suppose that would include the transgender, it certainly should, is trying to really undermine our vocabulary, trying to hold it hostage. And if you don't accept whatever terms are coming up with, then all of a sudden you're some kind of negative noun, I suppose.
Well, yeah,
and
they refer to you as a homophobe or a transphobe or
how about it?
bigot. Name all the terms. Now they'll try to get you canceled and you're fired from your jobs and all that stuff.
It's funny, homophobe, but you're talking about homosexual. So what are they, heterophobes?
I don't know. None of it makes any
must be
sense
a
because phobe means phobia, which means fear.
Yeah.
To
Right.
fear
Well,
something.
That's what they want you to think, is that they want to pin everybody as if they're afraid of the homosexual community.
No, they don't even believe that. They believe that anybody who disagrees with them is a homophobe. But that's not what phobia means. It means that you are scared to death of them.
Gay
That's
doesn't
not
mean
the case.
homosexual either. It means happy, joyful.
Right. Well, they subverted those terms like they've subverted basically the rest of the English language.
Yeah. Well, that whole deal up on the screen right there, cisgender. Some jackass freaking running the dictionaries decided to put that in there.
It starts in the
changes.
universities. The universities start with these terms, then the dictionaries went and followed suit by adding the words.
It's crap.
It is crap. All right, here we go.
So go ahead.
Cisgender means that you
Oh
identify.
my God. She must be French. She's got a mustache. Or Greek. That dude looks like a lady.
No, that dude
That's not really a lady. I don't know what that is. That's horrendous.
Oh,
Oh my
with
God, but
the
he
sex
Botox
that you
those
were
lips.
assigned at birth. For example, if you were assigned
Assigned
male
at birth.
and you identify as male, that makes you cisgender. If you were assigned female at birth and you identify as female, that also means you are cisgender. Go ahead and share this post to spread knowledge.
Oh, good.
What
I
a
definitely will
freaking
not.
Idiot. What an idiot. Yeah, I'm with her. When is enough enough? When is enough enough? I'm not kidding you. We got a feeble freaking Alzheimer's patient in the running the White House, and then we got this crap in the social media area in our society. We wonder what's wrong with America. Why is Iran? Why is the Islamic nations call us the big Satan? Oh, who would wonder why?
Right.
Cisgender.
You know what? Look, I've been saying it for a while. I know Iran's starting to look like a pretty nice place to live.
You know they're having riots over there right now.
Oh.
Yeah, they're opening riots up because women are wanting their rights. The
No,
problem
don't
is,
give it.
the problem is they may end up like us.
Oh,
I remember. I got to tell you, when the homosexual thing was really pushed, because I'm old enough to remember when it was like they were really pushing hard, and they really worked on the women to make them like, oh, they're nice, oh, they're friends, oh, they're this and all that. Now look where we're at.
Yeah, it's
insane. It's horrendous.
It's
shameful.
It's wild. Like,
it's indecent.
To think that
it's an abomination.
You could go from women's suffrage, which I understand, and women's right to vote, and I understand, and then somehow you swing from that into the second generation feminism, which is your 60s. And that was sexual subversion, right? Sexual revolution.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're in third wave feminism, where it's gone into the point where it's women hate men, and women are not, and then men can be women. And
I guess that's how they get women to like them. Strap on a bra, butch. It's just, I got to tell you, and the story of Adam and Eve was a slippery slope, and I think we've been sliding ever since. And I mean, this is phenomenal to me. I mean, I'm old enough to have seen all kinds of things, and I can be a pretty open-minded guy on some things. Not this. This is nonsense.
No,
and they're pushing this crap in our schools to the children.
Yep.
It's an abomination. It's horrendous, and the only thing it serves is sex. Because irregardless of what these people say, it's all about sex.
Yeah.
Perverted sex.
Yeah, it's their perversions, right? It's they're enacting their perversions and enforcing their perversions on society at large.
Trying to. Some of us gotta, I shouldn't say, have to grow some to stand up to it.
Because they'll agree.
As long as it's women growing them. Yeah, it's horrendous. It's awful.
All right, here we go.
Shame on them.
Even though I am putting it on my show. So basically, any of us who came out of the chute one way and stayed that way, who have not changed our gender, we are all cis, normal people. We can't just be called man, woman, a person. No, we have to separate ourselves and denote that we are not transgender. Because apparently that's such a big thing these days in 2023. And as of very recently, this term has almost become derogatory as it is used by both trans and non-trans people, whether it be them looking down on us cis people, or cis people being taught to hate themselves because they're not transgender, and it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Well, maybe it is stupid, but it's also dumb.
But on TikTok, people are starting to push back against this term, saying, don't label me as such, this is weird, stop using this word, I'm literally just a woman. But they are also pushing back on it because of the word's history, which is something I didn't know much about.
I won't be using the term cis because it was coined by a pedo sympathizer. This is Volkmar Seigisch, a German sexologist, physician, and sociologist who served as the director of the Institute of Sexual Sciences at the Clinic of Goethe University, Frankfurt, from 1973 to 2006. He's credited as the first published instance to the term cisgender as an antonym for transgender. If you Google him, he's also credited as some kind of pioneer for the LGBTQ movement. Seigisch also paved the way for virtuous pedophiles. He said there's a difference between pedophiles who offend and pedosexuals who don't but shouldn't have contact with children. Today, these people call themselves MAPs, or minor attracted persons, and they pride themselves on not offending. Eventually, the modern sexual revolution will make room for these people and claim that pedophiles are just misunderstood. Men like Sigush, Alfred Kinsey, and John Monet have all sympathized with an attraction to children, and they're all credited as LGBTQ heroes.
I mean, that video is incredible. Absolute mic drop. This was the first time that I had heard any of this backstory other than John Monet, but I absolutely believed that cisgender was just some sort of like word that a chronically online person made up 5 years ago and we suddenly adopted. No, these were doctors. Creepy ass sexologist doctors. Now, a 2022 article reiterated a lot of this and said that a 1991 publication by Volkmar Sigush titled Transsexuals and Our Nosomorphic View is credited as the first published instance of the term cisgender as an anonym to transgender. The sexologist's views also include controversial opinions on pedophilia. Sigush distinguishes between pedophiles who abuse children and pedosexuals who have the same impulses but do not follow through with them, as that creator talked about in the video. In a 2011 interview, so this is...
What's that?
Yeah, you hire. I guess you have to hire the pedosexuals for the babysitters, then, right? Not the pedophiles.
God.
Are you a pedosexual or a pedophile? I mean, are you just going to be drooling, babysitting my children, or are you going to actually be touching them? I mean, really. Really.
You know, I predicted this many years ago, probably back in 2013, 14, 15, that pedophilia was going to be legalized by 2025. Based on the trend that we were going, the way the LGBTQ was at that time pushing trans, and I knew it wasn't going to take but a handful of years more after that once trans took lock. And everybody told me I was crazy. Nobody's gonna walk around calling themselves trans. The whole world's like, and here we are. And I think we're just a couple years now away from going from that moment where everybody is trans to all of a sudden a shift out of the spotlight of everybody being trans to everybody being a pedophile. They'll bring back studies from Alfred Kinsey and John Monet, who wrote in their own writings that everybody's a pedophile deep down, and they'll reference things from, what do you call it? What was his name? Freud. And they'll reference Freud.
What a whack ball anyway.
But they're all whack balls. And this is one study of whack balls followed into another study. I mean, we'll do a video on Alfred Kinsey and John Monet, because that, when you go and look at the documentary of the things that they did to those two kids that they ran studies on,
all in the name of science.
All in the name of, well, yeah. Yeah, it was science.
Faux science. I mean, we're pretty used to faux science.
It was big S science. And that's where all of this modern psychology has come from in regards to all this gender, trans stuff. It's all coming from those two dudes.
Well, if we don't stand up to them, parents don't stand up to it, the churches don't stand up to it, we should expect a lot more of it. And I mean, and what happens is in the schools they pass regulations and laws and such to protect the counselors and the teachers from communications with the kids, so that the parents can't find out what the kids are talking to the teachers about, or their counselor. Oh, maybe their counselor's a pedophile. Maybe their teacher's a pedophile, and because there's a lot of them, and I've met some. And I'll tell you, is that because that's what they want to do. They really want to keep it quiet. They want to get it out front enough right now so that they can make it acceptable. But the real goal is to have sex with somebody's kids. That's what the goal is. Right. That's what that's all about. They want to have sex with your child. So that little baby whose diaper you're changing and who you're loving, and maybe the mother is nursing and the dad's doing whatever dad does with him, bouncing him on his knee, or however that works out in your family, is there are people out there right now pushing hard so that they have the ability to have sex with your child. And it doesn't matter on the age, not to them.
Right.
And,
and it goes into like old history, right? And you can go into things like the Skull and Bones Society and the Freemasons, where sexual perversions, including things like pedophilia. Look at Hollywood and some of the gatekeeping that they do. How about Epstein?
Yeah.
The gatekeeper of gatekeepers, right? He used sex with kids. Now, what would happen? And all of a sudden, if pedophilia was legal, right? If it was accepted by society at large, well,
Your kids are hunted.
well, they're haunted, but also the perversions of these elite now becomes accepted.
Sure.
Right
Well, that's
now,
what they're
it's
doing
not
right now, yeah.
accepted, right? You know, they still have to hide behind, well, you know,
A
but I
little
mean,
bit.
little bit, correct, but not enough to where they were because the majority of the society have no idea what you and I are talking about right now.
Yeah.
The sad truth is, and they're just now waking up to it because of COVID. So COVID, all of a sudden, all these kids were doing their school at home, and all this shit was coming out of the woodworks. Before you know it, you had parents going to school board meetings and saying, "Why is my 7-year-old reading lesbian and gay porn in the school districts? It's required readings of how to perform oral sex acts on each other, same sex, opposite sex, 7-8 years old. Why is this a required reading?"
And if the teachers, as they claim it every time they want to, at a budget meeting at the school board, love the children so much, why would they put those children through something like that? Why would they expose them to it? Why wouldn't they just say, "Hey, you know what? We're not teaching that. We're not teaching that." I mean, there's got to be
the good teachers don't have a backbone, and it's your school.
Then they're not a good teacher.
Well,
they're not a good teacher.
They're not
if
a
you
good
don't have the balls
teacher.
to stand up,
They're
when you're seeing evil, you're a coward.
100%.
And you're a big part of the problem.
But you've got the unions, and then the elected officials who nobody
Who
can
get
run
money
against,
from the union.
who get money from the unions. But the elected officials, you can't run against those people. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, the school board is by far the toughest of all elected spots to have. I've been to many school board meetings, and I got to tell you, is that union, the teachers union, is ferocious, and they own the school superintendents. The school superintendent is supposed to be between the teachers, right, and the school actually, and the parents, but they're not. They actually represent the teachers, because the teachers are the ones through the union who have the ability to be able to get rid of them, and so they want to cover their fanny, and they'll do whatever it is that the teachers want, and 99.9% of the time. It's awful, but we're feeding our kids to Molech, to an idol, and it's shame on the parents for not paying attention. Shame on them if they allow this to happen and don't all march down to their school board meetings outraged.
Right. Well, you've even got the federal government now protecting these school board meetings. Like, if you go in there and you make a fuss about it, you'll be on an FBI watch list and might have a couple visits.
I wonder what that's like.
I've always wondered myself.
Who's that guy walking around your backyard anyway? Behind that tree. Never mind.
It's Smith.
Smith, yeah. Jones left her. Is his Smith shift?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways,
awful.
guys, I wanted to bring a little bit of light again to this topic, and as this keeps on going on, everybody has to keep on speaking out. Go to your school boards, talk out against this stuff, find out what your school systems are promoting, find out what materials have no business being in there, and then argue it.
Yep. Yeah, even if you're a young couple and you haven't got kids yet, and but you're thinking about maybe having kids at some point in the future, go now, so that if in fact you do send them to public school, that in fact that you can have already be braced and educated on what's happening, what you're confronting. But I would suggest pull your kids out of public school, send them to a private school, and
homeschool,
and be careful. Homeschool them, which is even better by a long shot. You're right, and set your budget up to be able to do that, and because there's nothing more valuable, no larger treasure than those of your children, and protect them from this kind of stuff, because it's coming. A lot of this is coming through the public education, through the teachers union, but their support, and we know Hollywood's Hollyweird, and there's a lot of that kind of stuff that originates out of there. But it's coming, being fed. Your children are being fed to this beast of pedophilia and child porn, through the school system, the public school system especially.
Yep.
So beware.
And it's only going to get worse, not better at this rate.
Yes.
And so if you guys like this, comment down below, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Super 5.